the president of Nigeria-Bangladesh Business and Technology Forum (NBBTF), with the High Commissioner of Bangladesh to Nigeria, paid a courtesy visit to the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honourable Geoffrey Onyeama, to discuss the planned mission to Bangladesh.
I also see that there is a good businessman from Nasima, central, business body in Nigeria. They sent their front-ranking officials as well as entrepreneurs, and this Medan went, NIPC went, NEPC went, as well as some of the private sector also went. I think Urban Shelter went there, and Kiddies King Incorporation also went. So it's quite a huge, Nigerian delegation that really surprised our host, DHCCI Chamber of Commerce, currently chaired by Bangladesh, and they have a good MOU which actually talks about boosting the two-way trade and investment, including the possibilities of some investment in Nigeria. I first worked with these pharmaceuticals, healthcare areas. I'm also stepping in gradually to textile garments, and also his area also has become our issue. But with that, we engaged a hybrid, talk. From our office, there are Nigeria Pharmaceutical Society, Nigeria Manufacturing Pharmaceutical Society, some of the big entrepreneurs and professionals of the industry came for a talks. I presented a paper. NAFDAC sent their representative advisor to the DG. They came also physically, and respected Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Trade of Nigeria, she also joined us. And from that, one of the suggestions she made is to create a joint commission on trade, specifically trade, maybe joint commission on trade and investment. So all these are actually, being considered, and I also duly reported to Dhaka. So I think it's an important time that we can have a.
Architect Bob Achanya, the president and chief advocate of the forum, said that the idea of NBBTF is to facilitate bilateral trade and investment between Nigeria and Bangladesh.
We've been doing a lot of door-to-door marketing, I would say, across the country. And based on that, we got a no objection to be able to put and establish the NBBTF, Nigeria Bangladesh Business and Technology Forum, which we have done. We are currently implementing a 10-year plan. And the first attempt at implementing the plan is actually for us to go on an experiential visit to Bangladesh in order for us to sensitize them. And the idea of NBBTF is to see how we can facilitate bilateral trade and investment between the two countries. And I think we are doing very well by our estimation now. It appears to me that this is basically private sector driven, and with a government delegation. We're hoping to have Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. We're hoping to have NIPC to get their confirmation. But that roundtable is very important because we are going with a number of items from Nigeria for us to be able to showcase. So I think that would be very, very important and most forgotten.
Once upon a time, Nigeria was very good with Texas, and then we realized something went wrong along that time. And I think, like with this said then, that if we shift a bit of this exchange into vocational education, and then as well as how much of that transfer could come. I remember that in most countries of the world, and for most of the fabric that gets back here, most of them are produced by Bangladesh. And so we find that there's still that artisan craft that needs to be woven into all this conversation, especially because we know that these are mandatory in our schools. And if we are to get out of the current state, we need to build that strength within our own internal one. I would like to add that in addition to all the big things and all the other things we've discussed, it will also be very important to see how can we transfer some, not just textiles for the fun of textiles, but then how do we transfer these garment making skills at the rudiment level where it will begin to grow up our nation. We've seen other people do that. And So if on our side we could also look at that again, that education needs to get into this conversation, otherwise it would not be sustained at that level.
The possibilities of inland waterways and how it can really transform our economy. So I think it'd be good to learn from them to see how they've done it. On the textile side, it's going to be, I mean, I don't think there'll be cooperation there. There's competition, surely. I mean, I'm sure that Bangladesh is not going to want to share too much in the area of textiles with Nigeria, because they don't want Nigeria to, we had a very thriving textile industry decades ago, and we made certain efforts to try to revive it in different ways. And in fact, even in my other life, when I was working with one of the UN agencies, we had actually sent a team here, some to Kanu and so forth. And of course, we saw how the competition from Asia had really decimated our textile industry here. And so, well, I mean, if we can compete with Bangladesh.
From Abuja, I am Luka Moses, reporting for NewsDotAfrica.